been speaking to the great and the good of entertainment over this past number of months when not a lot of people in entertainment are doing a major pile of performances, to say the least. I've got a gentleman here, instrumentalist, has his own one-man show, member of a band, is also a session musician, has got his own recording studio, an all-around great talent in music, regular visitor, not alone to the UK but many other places as well, and has been for many, many years. An incredibly talented entertainer and musician, and I'm delighted to say hello to Glen Flynn. Glen, how are you?
Jerry, good to be on your show. Thanks for having me, and I'm doing good now. Thanks.
Fair play. And you were... one little interesting thing about you is you were actually one of the people who actually caught COVID-19.
I did, Jerry. I was back over there with yourself in the UK in March, and I went over. I done a weekend. Well, I started this Saturday with James McKeefery, and I was down in the Saturday night in Woking, and Sunday night in Leeds, and Monday night in Kilburn, with McGinty there at Quicks Road, and the Tuesday night, Paddy's night. That was the night it all closed up. And I came home, and I was great form, and all was great. And I came home, Jerry, on the Wednesday at dinner time. I was fine. The Thursday I was fine. And Friday at dinner time, I got terrible, terrible pains in my joints. And my whole body shut down, to be honest. And I'm never cold. I'm always throwing off coats off me with the heat. I can't handle the heat. But I went inside the house here, and I was absolutely freezing. And I eventually got myself upstairs to bed, and that was Friday evening. And I didn't get out of bed until Monday night, with a struggle Monday night, to be honest. And that was it. But more as a week, I was, for me, from my experience of it, for me, was like a bad flu, Jerry. That's the way it was for me. Lucky enough, I hadn't got the problem with the breathing or anything like that. It was just aches and pains, and if someone was trying to knock out my eyes type of thing, that's the way it fit the backs of my eyes. It was just completely like that sort of a pinching pain the whole time. And I felt like getting sick, even though I didn't get sick. But that was the kind of the symptoms I had of the COVID thing. But luckily enough, over a week, that was the Monday night I got out of bed, and on the Wednesday I got tested. And that was early on over here, and it was like maybe, I think it was 3 weeks before I knew whether I had it or I hadn't got it. So we were another 3 weeks inside in the house, couldn't leave, had the groceries coming to the back door, and you're like a prisoner in your own house, to be honest. I could go nowhere, and it was a long holiday, I'll tell you, but thankfully it's all gone now, and I'm back. Raring to go, but sure, nowhere to go, Jerry,
Yes. Well, I'm delighted to hear that you're well again, and that that obviously the dose of the COVID-19 that you got, you were lucky. Obviously it didn't have the same effect as it had on so many more people. And
that's the truth. And there was a documentary here on television here back last week on RT1 here. It was 2 nights, Monday and Tuesday night. And you tend to forget about it and all the rest. And just seeing it there, the poor people in Dublin that were up there. And I mean, some were lucky and some unfortunately passed away. And I mean, it's an eye opener how dangerous it actually is. And we just hope to God that, well, here at the minute now, it's going down. There's, every death's one too many, but at least they have it curtailed down to a low amount of deaths. And we're just hoping that there won't be a second spike come the autumn time. And if it does, well, it's very harsh to know. It's bad enough as it is now, but if that happens, we couldn't really begin to imagine what's going to take place in them days, So.
Indeed, so, and it's not alone the, I mean, while, every death is an absolute tragedy, and there are people who have long-term health implications as a result of it as well, but also it's the sheer effect that it has on everyday life, on people's lives, on businesses, and on every single facet of life.
It is. It's like, well, since I left school, I've been playing music all my life, doing every sort of functions and playing, even maybe even scores or flag yours or whatever, you'd be playing the whole time, And never until now, I can say, even it was never out of work since I left school. And for me, it's an awful change that you're at home. For me, the days are not too bad because you're always at home during the days you're doing something. But the nights can be very long when you're used to going down the road, let it be Cork or Donegal or Mayo or wherever. And that's when, you tend to you go to bed and you're twisting and you're turning. You can't sleep because your time clock is completely different. Like, when people are sleeping, you're on the road and you're coming back from the gig and, that type of thing. So it's all changed, Jerry, yeah. And, if we could see if we could see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel here, it would be good. But unfortunately, no one seems to know what's taking place. And more unfortunately, that we're last on the list over here to really get back into action. And as I said, if the second spike comes, well, that will definitely put the end of that, so hopefully not,
Yeah, hopefully not. Fingers crossed on the whole situation. But
yeah.
you also have your own recording studio. You're doing some work in it.
Yeah, I do, Jerry, here from the house. Yeah, I do a bit. Whoever wants something done, or if someone is recording somewhere else and they want guitar or steel guitars or that done, I do it down the line. That's the way it's nearly gone nowadays. It's all done down the line now, and you send a song or to someone, or they'll send it to you, and you play your bit and just send it off in a file, and they go into a studio in their own place or even from the home. Most things are done from the home now, like everything else. And so it's grand. It keeps something to do, or even just come out here and just mess around myself, or sometimes record my own. It gives me more time now to do something for myself. Whenever it all get back to work, please God, that you have something there, And as the man says, I've never practiced as much in all my life, Jerry. So that's one good thing from out of this: more practice,
Indeed, you'll be. Yes, You'll be even better than before, and you certainly were very talented before all of this.
I don't know. I fill the gaps, as I say, Jerry. But it's grand. It's something I always like doing, and there's people that can go to work in the morning and they're glad to come home at 5:00 in the evening, and that I think for musicians, we do it our thing at night time, and we're on the road and we travel, and we, it's a kind of part of what we do, and part of your DNA, I suppose, and been taken away from that. And then it's the terrible change in our ways of going on. Really, I often joked to Al, Grant, and Niall. I said, when I hit 50, I'm retiring, and I'm actually 50 this year, to be honest with you. But I always said to retire just messing, and here we go. Well, you really say I'm retired in a minute, because I know where to go. So it happened, So it's hopefully we'll get back to it again. Yeah.
Indeed. So when you say Isla, you mean Isla Grant? You played with
right.
Isla Grant. You were backing one of the members of the backing band.
That's right, Jerry. Yeah, we tour with the UK with Isla and Al, and actually, in fact, we do Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. We're supposed to be in Canada there in May, and that was cancelled until next year. Isla had a tour starting over in the UK in October time. That's cancelled as well. And then Al had a Jim Reeves thing over here for the end of October, November time. It's kind of on hold at the minute, but it's very unlikely it'll take place. But hopefully it'll be taking place next year, and we'll be back in the road with them next year, please God. But I enjoy that as well, Jerry. It's something, you're kind of in the background and you just play away and they're out front doing their thing, and I enjoy it. It's just a break away from doing my own thing, and then when they're finished, I'm always mad to go back doing my own thing again. So I enjoy it, to be honest. Yeah.
Now, you recorded a number of albums and released a number of singles as well.
Yeah, they're recording the whole time. Well, Isla's she's writing songs for years and has written some great songs, and some of the earlier albums now that she re-records from time to time and that type of thing. And actually, she was, to believe it, she was supposed to be here this week, Jerry, recording her, doing some work, so she was. And unfortunately, it's gone. But she's always writing songs, new songs, and of course, Al's renowned for his Jim Reeves. Is taking Jim Reeves songs, So, and you'd be amazing the market's out there for that type of thing. So, it's good that they're doing that thing, and they're like myself here. They're they do a few tours in the year and they're meant to get on the road, but unfortunately they're housebound as well. So in the one boat.
You had a lot of success with a song called Loch Enl, which captured the imagination of many people.
Yeah, back, Jerry, I'd said, I don't know how many years ago, I think it would be 10 years ago, I wrote that. I forget now, to be honest, how long ago it was, but when we were in Australia, I took this habit. We'd be going the tour bus along from different towns in the outbacks of Australia, and so there's one way I was killing time was starting to write songs, and that was one of the songs I wrote. And I wrote a few, all right, but it's a kind of a thing. It comes natural for some people, but for me, it doesn't really come that natural. So it's sort of time consuming, and you wouldn't have time. If you're on the road, it's grand because you're sitting back and someone else is doing all the driving. Then you can do something all right. But I haven't done it in a while now. But there's so many good songwriters out there now. Like, I mean, there's both young and old songwriters. There's wonderful songs being written nowadays for different artists. So there is, and so I don't think I step up to that mark anyway. So let them write away, and I'll sit back and play the music, I think.
I don't know about that. I mean, Loch Enl is a superb song. It did capture the imagination. No question about that.
Well, the thing about that song, Jerry, is actually that song is really the truth, because years ago, Loch Enl from Tullamore here is only about maybe 20-25 minutes. But like for us going to Loch Enl, it was like a child probably going to Disney Paris nowadays. That's the way it was. And we got to Loch Enl on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, especially, I don't know, but the summers back in 40 years ago seemed to be a lot finer then and stuff. The summers there was hot summers and all that type of thing. But we go over there, and I mean, there was a picnic. There was six kids, 6 girls. There was 5 girls and myself and the family, and to get over there for a day, and what some of the sentiments of the songs, the lyrics that I wrote, it was actually true. And it was our second home, really. We got there. It was great to go there for a day, and there's flowers beside you and fishermen and all that type of thing. So it was nice, yeah. So it turned out nice, Jerry, that song, all right. So it did, yeah.
Indeed, it did. Yes, it was. It did extremely well, and also the couple of albums you recorded also were received very well.
They're grand, yeah. It's people come along to the dances most times said, you have that song you sang there tonight, and you try and pick some of the best songs that they want to hear you singing, and always sort of get a good idea then from people to say, generally most people they pick the same song most nights, and so you have a fair idea then what they like, and you try and put that song on an album if you can, and it's nice to do something that they can relate to, and they come along to the dances because you sing maybe some of the songs they like, and you record them songs as well. So yeah, it's nice to do them type of songs, all right. So it is. Indeed,
it is, and certainly well received. Well received the arc from your popularity up and down Ireland, and also over here, indeed, on a more international level. Glen, listeners, it's been lovely to catch up with you. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I wish you all the success in the world and continued good health. And listen, fingers crossed that we'll see you live once again as soon as it's safe to do so.
Please God, Jerry, and thanks for having me on your show. And it's great to get the publicity and the plays, and thanks for doing everything you've done for us throughout the years. And as you said, please God, we'll get back over to the UK. God knows when, but hopefully we will, because we've met many friends over there for the last number of years. And I always love, I've been over there for years in different bands, but it's kind of special when you're doing something for yourself. I love going over there, to be honest. And I go for a weekend and come back, or maybe try and get 2 weekends if I can. But I always like going over there, and as I said, I just love going to kebab houses as well, getting a proper kebab, So it's nice. I'm meeting all the people. So please God, Jerry, we'll see you sometime down the road. And thanks for everything again. Appreciate that.